from an Advaita perspective offered by Bindoji. We are on chapter 3, room number 8. So all the other rooms, the earlier rooms are available as a replay in Clubhouse, or you can go to the links that are shared in the chat. There's Advaita Retold on YouTube. The other one is on Apple Podcast and Spotify. There is also a book that has been authored by Artemisia based on Bindoji's insights from an Advaita perspective, and it's called titled Imaginary Door. It's available on Amazon. And for housekeeping, I'm going to close the chat and hand raising when Bindoji is conducting this class, after which we'll have about half an hour for Q&A. Thank you, Bindoji. Over to you.
Thank you, Prakash. Namaste and well Hari Om to all of you. Let me do my invocation. Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharushibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunadayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhasha Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Veda Vivagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunnvandi Divyai Savai Vedai Sangha Padakramo Upanishadai Gayandi Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pasyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidussura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. In the 14th verse, we saw Shankaracharya clarifying that beings are born out of food, and food is generated of water, rain, and rain is a result of yajna, and for yajna we have to do action, karma. Now the question will be, from where does karma itself arise? This leads to the verse number 15. Karmas are in the Vedas, and Vedas have come from Brahman. This is critical because we must prevent the system from collapsing into Purva Mimamsa's ritualism. It is not a theological formulation. It's a metaphysical approach towards the meanings of Gita. So we have to see that the Veda is rooted in Brahman, how yet Brahman is actionless. Thus karma ultimately rests in an actionless absolute Brahman. This architecture is intentional. So we here now to complete this, a downward chain is also being mentioned by Shankaracharya. That from Brahman comes out the Veda. In Veda, prescriptions are there for karma. Karma is in the form of yajna. When it is done, produces rain and water for the prosperity of the food, etc., and the beings from that. And the cycle gets completed when the beings do the karma through the yajna. This samsara, self-sustaining wheel, is what is shown in this. The Advaitic clarity can be seen that karma sustains the wheel. Apurva operates within the wheel. between the yajna and the rain. The wheel does not yield moksha. That is the Advaitic clarity. Knowledge alone can make one exit the wheel of self-sustaining samsara. So karma explains the continuity of the world, and though 1 in a million strives for the knowledge, and that knowledge is the cessation for the bondage. So Krishna is answering that himself when the question is asked, from where does karma itself arise? He states now, karma brahmodbhavam viddhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yatne pratishtitam. Now, where does the karma arise from? The first line has got to be split into two. One is the karma brahmodbhavam viddhi. No actions to be arising from the Brahman, or here the Brahman is for the Veda. It is not the Saguna Brahma or Nirguna Brahma, which Patrick was asking yesterday. In this, Krishna says that from the Vedas is the karma udbhavam, brahmodbhavam viddhi. But the second part of the first line says that Brahma akshara samudbhavam. That Brahma or the Veda is akshara samudbhavam. So what does it mean? Know that the Veda to be arising from the imperishable Parabrahman. That is aksharat. Now, you can also take as akshara as alphabets. But that is not the meaning here. From the alphabets is the Veda arising. That will be not the right way to look at it, because words form out of alphabets, and words when joined together meaningful becomes sentences, and sentences are what becomes the instructions. Now, where did the alphabets themselves come from? That is why it has the same word or the name or nomenclature which is used both for the imperishable Brahman and the alphabets. That is why it is called Shabda Brahman. Because everything is Brahman. And Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, we know that. That everything is Brahman is also depending upon the names and forms, etc., which is using the alphabets for identifying or knowing each one of them. The names by themselves is not what Brahman is, but that through which the words are indicated. So when Akshara Samudbhavam, that word is Akshara Sam plus Udbhavam. There are three aspects of it. Samudbhavam means specifically born out of. Samudbhavam. Akshara means imperishable. The real meaning of Akshara is imperishable. It can also mean alphabet. So, we have to understand that the Vedas, which are constituted of alphabets, has risen from the imperishable Parabrahman itself. because without the Brahman, no Akshara can be ever expressed. Because consciousness, you need consciousness for expressing that. And the next line, Krishna is giving a statement which is almost like an instruction. But it is a knowledge transmission also. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yatne pratishthitam. Tasmat means therefore. Sarvagatam, all pervading. That means there is no place where it is not there. Brahma, obviously here Krishna doesn't mean that is Sarvagatam Brahma. He is addressing to the imperishable Brahman, Parabrahman itself. Yatne Pratishtitam is established in the sacrifice itself. The movement is from karma, empirical action, through the Vedas, scriptures, to Akshara Brahman, the imperishable absolute. And then back down through the Sarvagata, means all-pervading aspect of Brahman when it has become empirical, into the yajnas where all-pervading absolute is present in every act of the sacrifice. There is never a instant or moment when some activity or other is not happening. That is what his life is. Therefore, the all-pervading absolute, even though it is actionless, akarta, is present within every act of sacrifice. Appears to be quite contradictory. It is actionless, present in every act of sacrifice. Shankaracharya is explaining this in the commentary very beautifully. We will see that when we go there. So here the karma is the yajna in the preceding verse. Now with its own origin traced one step further back to the causal chain through the Brahmodbhava. And what is Brahmodbhava? The Veda is the proximate source of karma in the sense that Vihita karma, or the prescribed action, has its authority, definition and scope entirely from the Vedic injunction. Without the Veda, there is no niyata karma, no yajna, no dharma. So all those things are Vedic injunctions. Viddhi here is a instruction, imperative addressed to Arjuna. Know or understand that. A command to recognize and comprehend the causal connection, not merely to accept it intellectually. Shankaracharya reads Viddhi as a pointing towards vichara, reflective understanding that transforms the conduct of the individual. Brahma is here in the first line, first part is referring to Veda. Brahma Shabdo Vedavachi. It is there in the Rig Veda. The word Brahman denotes Veda. Akshara Samudbhavam. That word is a compound word. Akshara Samudbhavam. I told you that. That which arises entirely from the imperishable, having the imperishable as its complete source. Shankaracharya's identification of Akshara is philosophically decisive. Aksharam Parabrahma, the Aksharam is Parabrahman itself. The absolutely imperishable, self-luminous, non-dual Atman. Thus, Brahma, Akshara Samudbhavam means the Vedas have arises from Parabrahman. Asya mahato bhudasya nishwasya davyam etad Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samavedo, Atharvangirasaha. In the second chapter, 4th pada, 10th verse in the Brihadaranya Upanishad, it is this. The Vedas are the very breath, the spontaneous exhalation of that great being. The Veda is not humanly composed, apaurashaya, but eternally subsists in the Parabrahman and is revealed at the beginning of creation itself. Sahayatnya prajasrishtva urovacha prajavati. So that time the creator has also composed the Vedas. So the creator is none other than the Parabrahman itself. Tasma, therefore, Sarvagatam. What is the Sarvagatam? Here is where Shankaracharya's beauty comes in. Sarvam gacchati Sarvagatam. Brahma. Brahman is that goes into all, that pervades all. The Sarvagatatva of Brahman is a fundamental Advaitic attribute. Akasavat Sarvagatam cha Nityam. Like a space, it is omnipresent and eternal. The significance here is that since karma derives from the Veda and the Veda derives from Parabrahman, the entire chain of karma, yajna, parjanya, anna, bhuda is pervaded by and grounded in Parabrahman. Nothing in the cosmic cycle stands outside Brahman. That way, Vedas are produced from Brahman. There is no author for it. It is self-revealed in the beginning of creation to humanity. Brahma here refers in the second part of the first line is Parabrahman. Akshara, from which the Veda arises. Transition from Brahma as Veda in the first half to the second part of the same first line as Parabrahman. The two senses are related as expression and source. That is how they are connected. The Veda is an expression and the Brahman is the source. But both are known as Brahma. And since it is from Brahman, it is Nityam. Brahman alone is Nityam. Therefore, this Nityatva is precisely what makes Brahman the ultimate ground, adhara of the entire circle, where karma, yajna, parjanya, anna, which are all anitya in their nature, impermanent. But the permanency of the cycle with the impermanent rests in a permanent Brahman or eternal Brahman. So this verse receives some Shankaracharya's most important and rich commentary in the third chapter. It provides the metaphysical grounding for the entire Yajna Chakra exposition. First, the double use of the word Brahman, once as the Veda and once for Parabrahman, is not an equivocation but a deliberate theological statement. Because Vedas cannot be wrong. Because it is a pramana or a means of knowledge. The Veda is Brahma in the secondary sense because it is verbal manifestation of Parabrahman itself, not a human composition as his mental creation, but a intuitive clairvoyance or expression of knowledge itself. So Parabrahman's own self-disclosure in the medium of language, Shabda Parabrahman, karma prescribed by the Vedas thus participates in the authority and sanctity of Parabrahman itself, which is why performing Vihita karma as Yajnartha is genuinely sacred act and not a mere social conformity. Vihita karma means prescribed actions. Yajnartha means for the purpose of the yajna. The second aspect which is in his commentary is that Akshara Samudbhavam triggers Shankaracharya's most important Advaitic intervention in this section. The identification of Akshara with Parabrahman, which is the absolutely imperishable, self-luminous, non-dual Atman, established that the entire causal chain of karma, yajna, parjanya, anna, bhuta is ultimately grounded not in any secondary reality but in the Brahman itself. So therefore, both Brahman is both the material cause, upadana karana, and the nimitta karana, the efficient cause, in the entire cosmic order. And simultaneously transcends both causal roles as Nirguna Brahman, as the causeless cause. This is how he has commented upon that. It is a causeless cause because it transcends both the causal rules as the material cause and the efficient cause. But at the same time, they are both, when it is in the cycle of karma, yajna, parjanya, anna, bhuta, there is a causality in them which cannot be outside Parabrahman. Because nothing is outside, because Atman is, Parabrahman is Sarvagatam, all-pervasive, omnipresent. So the causality is a mere appearance because of the dependencies on the names and forms. Third, Sarvagatam Brahma Nityam Yatne Pratishtitam is a statement of Brahman's immanence within the empirical order without compromising its transcendence. Brahman is Sarvagata means omnipresent and therefore necessarily present within the yajna. But it is also eternal. Therefore not produced by yajna or depending upon it. The same pratishtita or the relationship is asymmetrical. Yajna rests in Brahman as its ground, but Brahman does not rest in yajna. This asymmetry is the Advaitic principle of Vyavaharika and Paramarthika. The empirical level Brahman appears as inner reality of yajna. The absolute level Brahman alone is, and yajna is a mithya or an appearance within the Brahman's non-dual being. So the entire empirical expression of yajna, karma, anna, rain, beings, all are appearances within Brahma's non-dual being. The fourth aspect is that marks the philosophical climax of the Yajna Chakra teaching. Having traced the chain from Buddha through Anna, through Parjanya, through Yajna, through Karma, through Brahma, Veda, to Akshara Parabrahman. That is from the beings to the food, to the rain, to the Yajna, to the action, to the Vedas, to the Parabrahman. The Lord has shown that empirical world of action is not self-sufficient, subsistent, not self-subsistent reality, but is rooted in and pervaded by Brahman at every level. For the Karma Yogins, this means that Yajnartha Karma is not merely an ethical discipline, but a genuine upasana, worship of Brahman through action. And for a Jnanin, it means something more radical. That the entire cycle of Karma Yajna is Brahman's own self-expression as an empirical form. And that recognition of Akshara as one's own Atman dissolves the very distinction between the performer of the Yajna and the Brahman, in whom Yajna is established. Aham Kritur Aham Yajna. I am the ritual, I am the sacrifice. So, the Bhashya says, Karma Brahmodbhavam, action is born of Brahma. Brahma Veda Saha Udbhava Karanam Prakashakaha Yasya Tat Karmaha Brahmodbhavam Vidhi Vijanihi. Brahma here means the Veda, that from which actions arise. It's a cause and revealer. Know that action to be born of Brahma. Karana and Prakashaka is the cause as well as revealer. Karma does not originate in human will. It is known and enjoyed through Veda. This blocks the subjectivism. And where does the Vedas arise? Brahma Puna Vedakyam Akshara Samudbhava. And the Brahma or the Veda, called the Veda, arises from the imperishable Akshara. So Veda itself is not ultimate. It arises from Akshara. Here Akshara is equated to Paramatma. And Aksharam Brahma Parama Samudbhava Yasya Tat Akshara Samudbhava is declining it. In the declension, he says that the perishable is Brahman, the Supreme itself. That from which Veda arises is called arising from the imperishable. That is, Brahman is Akshara. It can be then one which is imperishable. Same as the alphabets. Alphabets never perish. As long as empirical world is there, the alphabets will never perish. But from alphabets is what the Vedas have arisen from. So metaphysical move is that Veda originates from the imperishable, yet not as a temporal creation, but as an emanation analogous to breath, for which he is quoting the Brihadaranya Upanishad. Brahma Vede Ityartaha. That Brahma here means Veda. Yasmat Sakshat Paramatma Khyat Aksharat Purusha Nishwasavat Samudbhavam Brahma. From that imperishable, directly known as the Supreme Self, the Veda has arisen like the breath of a person, which is from the Brihadaranya Upanishad. Therefore, it is not authored by human beings. It is a spontaneous manifestation like breath, effortless, natural, and not deliberative. There is no will or volition to create that. When the imperishable Brahman, Akshara, breathes, as if the Vedas are becoming the intuitive knowledge in the creation itself. Brahman remains actionless. The breath analogy does not imply intentional activity but a involuntary action. Tasmat sarvartak prakashakatvat sarvagatam. Why does Veda is called equal to Brahman? Because it reveals all meanings and it is all pervading. Everything in the life has been touched upon in the Vedas. Whether the old Vedic period or the modern time. The terminologies might have changed, but the contents have been touched upon in the scriptures, Vedas. Therefore, it illuminates dharma, reveals ritual, that is the only theological aspect of it. But it reveals knowledge, how knowledge is born, what is the effect of knowledge, how it affects the mind, how the mind affects the behavior, how behavior gives rise to good and bad or multitude. And when it is done in the form of a yajna or without selfishness, how it can help in the cosmic orientation, and how cosmic orientation rejuvenates every creation from cycle to cycle. And this whole process is in Brahman. Therefore, the process itself is a revelation that Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Therefore, metaphorically, Sarvagata is the pervasiveness in epistemic model, not in a spatial model, space-wise. Sarvagatam api san nityam sada yajna vidhi pradhanatvad yajne pratishtitam. Though all-pervading and eternal, the Veda is said to be established in yajna because injunctions concerning yajna are predominant in it. Gita says, therefore, Brahman is ever established in yajna. Not Nirguna Brahman, but Veda is established in yajna. Why? Because ritual portion, the Karma Kanda, is extensive. Yajna Vidhi occupies large space in the Vedas. This does not make yajna ultimate. Therefore, Shankaracharya is preserving a hierarchy. At the level of Akshara Paramatman, it is the ultimate reality as a function. At the level of Veda, the function is a revealer. At the level of Karma, the function is enjoyed action. At the level of Yajna, it is a ritual of execution. And at the level of rain, food, beings, is the samsara cycle or the worldly cycle. The completed vertical chain is now a metaphysical descent. Akshara, Parabrahman, from that Veda, from Veda the karma given by Yajna, it produces the rain or water. From the rain and the water, food is generated, and from the food, beings are nourished, and very nourished beings are fit to do karma again, which is again back to Yajna. So this is the cosmic wheel, Jagat Chakra. Shankaracharya must prevent a catastrophic misunderstanding. If Veda comes from Brahman and Veda enjoys Yajna, then Yajna must be ultimate. He avoids this by distinguishing Veda from Akshara, treating karma as preparatory, and maintaining knowledge as the sole moksha hetu, or the reason for the liberation. Brahman is not dependent on Yajna. Rather, Yajna operates within the domain revealed by the Vedas, which issues from the Parabrahman. Therefore, his master stroke is the wheel explains the samsara, justifies karma, and sustains order. But the knower of Brahman transcends Veda, transcends karma, transcends Yajna, and stands as Akshara himself. Brahma with Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes the Brahman. Because Aham Brahmasmi is the knowledge he is holding at that time. Karma sustains the world. Brahman is untouched by the karma. The verse number 16. Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayatiya haye akhayur indriyo rama mokham parthasa jivati. Verse number 16. Yaha iva iha evam pravartitam chakram na anuvartayati saha akhayu indriyarama san mogham partha sa jivati. It's a single sentence, so we don't have to split it up. He who does not keep the turning of the wheel, thus set in motion by the Brahman itself here in this world, he whose life is sin and whose delight is in the senses, O Arjuna, he lives in vain. It is as good as a result for a person who doesn't fall in line for the cycle of the karma, which has been given in the previous verse. He is being given that. So what does it say? It says that simply, the Yajna Chakra teaching into a sharp moral and metaphysical verdict is to be seen. Evam pravartitam chakram gathers up the entire cosmological chain from 10th verse to 15th verse into a single image of the self-sustaining cosmic wheel. Shankaracharya emphasized that this wheel was established by Ishvara through Prajapati himself. This is not a human institution but a divine ordinance. Daivi Vyavastha. To refuse the participation is therefore not merely social irresponsibility but a transgression against God's own cosmic design. Ishvara Ajna Vedikrama. That's the word used there. Na anuvartayati does not refer to the jnani who has transcended the chakra through Atma Jnana. Whereas the Shankaracharya is explicit saying that the jnani is not condemned here because his akartratva, non-doership, is realized truth, not a lazy avoidance. The one condemned is the karmadhikari, who is still within the domain of pravritti dharma, but refuses to participate the one who is neither a genuine jnanin nor a consciousness, conscientious karma yogin, but simply a indriyarama, a sensualist. So the karmadhikarin should not avoid doing the pravritti dharma in the yajnartha. But if he doesn't do that, he becomes a selfish sensualist who for indriyarama. Akhayu indriyarama, there are the two words, are for precise philosophical diagnosis. Akhayu is pointing towards karma phala. Accumulation of papa. Akham means papa. Akhayu means papa. Accumulation of papa or the sin. That constitutes such a life at the level of dharma. Indriyarama, the other word, points to the root cause why the sin is being accumulated by this person. Because the orientation of the antakarana entirely towards Vishaya Sukha or sensual pleasures with no aspiration towards Atman. He, like a worm, lives in the dirt itself. That is his heaven and his life. Together they describe the pragmatic Ajnanin in his most concrete form, not the philosophically sophisticated Vivikta, one who has simply not yet attained jnana, but the thoroughgoing sensualist who has no interest in transcending the sensual world. Mogham jivati is the crucial word. The moghata or fruitlessness of such a life operates at three levels simultaneously. At the level of dharma, no punya is accumulated. He doesn't accumulate any merits. At the level of artha and kama, even the worldly goods obtained through adharma cannot yield genuine satisfaction. And at the level of moksha, the human birth, which alone provides adhikara for that knowledge or jnana, for liberation, is squandered by such a person. Shankaracharya sees mokham jivati as an ultimate verdict on ignorance or avidya in action. An ajnanin who mistakes the sense for the Atman and the sense world for Brahman wastes the one opportunity that existence provides for recognition of non-dual truth. In the Advaitic vision, the human birth is infinitely precious. Durlabam manushim janma. Durlabam manushim janma. That is, rare is a human birth. And to exhaust it in Indriya Ramata, that is in the living in the sensual pleasures, is the supreme tragedy of samsaric life. He has written a long commentary. Evam ittham ishwarena vedayatnya purvagam jagat chakram pravartitam. Thus, in this manner, the cosmic wheel, preceded by the Veda and Yajna, has been set in motion by the divine itself. Akshara, giving rise to Veda, to karma, yajna, rain, food, beings, karma, cycle again continues. This is divine established order, not human convention. Thus, karma yoga is not arbitrary. It sustains divine's arrangement. Na anuvartayati iha loke yaha karmani adhikritaha san. He who, though qualified for action in this world, does not follow it. Because this condemnation applies to only karmani adhikrita, who has karma as adhikrita, not yet fit for jnana-nishta. Akhayu indriyarama papa jivana iti yavat. He, one who is life is sin, his very living is sinful. This is not a moral exaggeration. Why is his life sinful? Because he consumes without offering. He withdraws from dharma or duty without knowledge. He interrupts the wheel while still bound by it. So living without yajna while ignorant is living in appropriation. Indriya Ramaha Vishayeshu Yasya Sa Indriya Rama. He whose delight is in the senses, who reveals and plays in the sense objects. His psychology is the failure to know jnana, yajna karma that leads to degeneration into sense indulgence. Without discipline, ignorance defaults to sensual pleasures. Mokham vrita he partha sajivati. Vainly, uselessly, Arjuna, he lives. Mokham does not mean he ceases to exist. It means his life produces no higher good. It sustains neither order nor knowledge. It deepens the samsara. Thus ends the Jagat Chakra warning. So, summary of 3.4 to 3.6 is what is now Shankaracharya going in his commentary. Tasmat atnena adhikritena kartavyam eva karma iti prakaranat. Therefore, the purport of the section is that action must be indeed performed by the ignorant who is qualified for it. So, from the verse 14 to 16, this discussion applies to mainly to the ignorant, the adhikrita, not for the Atmavit, one who is with having the knowledge of Atman. He restates the arc in the 3.4, not by non-comment. Na karmanam anarambha, that is how he started. So prior to attaining fitness for steadiness in self-knowledge, action in the form of karma yoga must necessarily be performed by the non-knower of Atman and who are adhikaris or eligible for the actions as a preparation for that end. So Shankaracharya is sequencing this classic path. Karma yoga is for purification, and purification brings in eligibility for knowledge, and that eligibility develops the preparedness for the knowledge, and ultimately the knowledge leads to liberation. Karma and knowledge cannot go together. Samuchaya, not well. Karma independently also is not a moksha hetu or cause for liberation. Tata karane cha dosha sankirtanam kritam. The defects of not performing it has been declared. Karma. There is a question which is raised in the commentary, in the Bhashya. Is this wheel to be followed by everyone, or is there an exception? It is in the commentary, not in this verse. So Shankaracharya is quoting there 3.5.1 from Brihadaranya. Knowing the self, the Brahmanas, freed from the false knowledge, renounce obligatory actions such as desire for progeny and leaves by alms merely for bodily maintenance. This is what he has quoted from the Brihadaranya Upanishad. What is that? Tamatmanam viditva nivritta mityatjnana santha brahmana mityatjnana viddihi avasyam kartavyam vedyaha Utreshanadibhyo vyatthaya bhikshacharyam sharirastiti matram viprayuktam charanti na tesham atmajnana nishtha vyatikarane anyat karyam asti. Ityevam shrutyartam iha Gita Shastre pratipipadayashyati shetam avikurvan aha Bhagavan. So, next verse. So, before going to the next verse, he is quoting this, Brihadaranya Upanishad. That is where it is said that. So, there exists a class freed from the Mityatjnana, who have no further karma obligation. So, there are two divisions. Anatmavit, or the ignorant, must follow the wheel of this Yajna Chakra. Whereas for Atmavit, the knower of Atman, he stands outside the wheel. It is ontological bifurcation. Shankaracharya's intent, he states that the Bhagavan now begins to reveal the Jnanin's status from next verse onward, 17 to 17-18. Reveal the Jnanin's status, explains why he need not follow the Jagat Chakra, and align Gita with the Upanishadic renunciation. 17-18, Atmarati, Atmatrupta, Atmasantushta, who has no dependence on action. Atmarati means one who plays in the Atma knowledge. Atmatrupta, one is who is satisfied in the knowledge of Atma. Atmasantushtaha means he is rejoiced in the Atma's presence. So the third chapter till now is 1 to 3 is knowledge is superior. 4 to 8 is karma unavoidable for the ignorant. 9 to 13 is karma purified by yajna. 14 to 16, karma sustains the cosmic wheel, and only ignorant must follow it. And beginning from 17, next verse, the knower stands beyond it. This 17th verse onwards, we will take it tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Instead of question answer session, we will be having our regular class on Fridays. And question answer session can be done on Sunday. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, Bindoji. The hand raising and chat are open for anyone who have questions or clarifications. The room will be open for another half an hour. So in essence, Bindoji, the Dharma Chakra addresses one of the major setbacks of the current way of living, the materialistic, right?
Yes, right. See, yesterday's explanation of Yajna-shishta, there has been a lot of questions. If we are not supposed to expect results, salary and everything, how are you supposed to live? This is a question which was asked to me. The answer was that very clear. Nobody says that what Yajna-shishta means you are avoiding anything what is coming. You are not putting a demand or expectations on beyond what your skill sets are producing. So you are falling into a cycle where when everybody follows this, or majority of the world follows it, there will be welfare in the society. But when selfishness takes over, the rich-poor divide comes in. It is not due to the communism of, like everything should be divided equally to everyone. It will never happen. Because there are people who are capable, people who are middle capable, who are less capable. That system will continue. But all these three categories should know one thing. Their rewards or what is they're getting as Yajna-shishta is based on what they have contributed to the cycle. If that is understood, nobody is going to keep extra from what is by selfish means or aggrandizing things like that, etc., which will be available for others also. This whole problem comes when Akhayu, Mogham Sapartha Jivati, he is eating for himself. He is called a thief. Without cooked food, eating himself without giving others, he is considered as a theft as per Bhagavad Gita. This is what we have to understand. And another thing is that the social media, what I explained about the social media and the artificial dopamine that is being created, the company is getting benefited. It is not that the social media and everything is going to create a mentally unbalanced society. But overindulgence in anything is what is the social media or AI or chat GPT or anything. All of them are tools. Just as your eyes, ears, etc., everything in the society, whether it is social media or artificial intelligence or in computer or mobile, everything is instruments for your yajna. But if it is overused, it is a sensual overdoing into that. And when you are sensually involved into that, the result will be you have to pay a price for it. That price is what is increasing the suffering of the humanity. Those who get into the suffering are the one who going through depression and problems from getting into a life where comfort or the peace of mind is lost. So the cycle is good when you fall in line and use it like all the other tools of your life. If you don't do that, even the cycle can be a binding thing for you.
Yes, thank you, Binduji.
Rajendra, please come up.
Oh, namaste, Rajendra.
Namaste, Rajendra.
Namaste, Prakashji and Binduji. in the chat.
Yeah, I saw that.
You see, in today's world, people get drawn to the wars, and people make decisions, and leaders maybe run on their own lead and forget the people behind. And it's I hope what got me provoked was your thought that this is how it is, and somehow I refuse to accept this is how it is, because we can apply and find new ways of applying the moral imagination which is possible to educate and provide the like Prakashji would say, the pedagogies to create hopefully just safer place for humans. But the problem I feel starts is when we think that something beyond is greater than life itself. Because even if there is everything greater than life itself, even if there are levels to achievement, the highest container, the highest of everything has to be life itself. It cannot be something that transcends life. It can be for the sake of exploration, imaginations, like moral imaginations, but we have to come back to life, because we are of the living, and we may not necessarily understand what it means to be alive. Beyond, yeah, we can look at the beyond as a mirror potentially to look at life, but we cannot escape it to not look at life. So, and if we put life as this ideal, or life has this even a meta ideal, then the question is like, how do we use these tools to build towards this life? We can say, yes, we have to accept that there are lower class people, mid class, high class people, and that's how it is. But it doesn't have to be like that. In the last, let's say, few centuries, we've seen societies develop differently across the world. How they, let's say, even the president can be in a taxi or with the cleaner and have the respectful conversation. So where structures are put into place to ensure that a collective experience. Yeah. Again, coming back to life. So I guess I don't really have a question, but if you like to explore what I just said, and this turning towards life, without it being the Maya, and nothingness, I would like to see, potentially Maya as not fully understanding, and the nothingness as a pure potential that reflects back. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rajendran. But what you said as life is exactly what has been referred here as the karma, the yajna, and the sustenance of the cycle of life. That is what is being referred here. So those who do not understand the life cycle in tune with the nature itself. Nature means the whole other lives included in it, not your life alone. If that is taken care, then it is a yajna itself. But when somebody falls out of that, does only for himself, he is living for himself alone. Such a person is called an Indriya Rama, or the one who is a sensualist, or living for himself, cooking for himself, eating for himself. And such people are the people who create imbalance in life. But seeing them enjoying, those who are for normal, regular life are getting attracted towards the opulence and the life such people live, which has developed into some sort of a psychophony where people are more getting attracted towards aggrandizing and accumulation. Now, this is what Krishna will be talking about in the verses to come, 17, 18, 19 onwards. You will see that, where Krishna is telling that what is the role of each one of us in the society. Everyone is looked upon by somebody else. Whatever may be his level, there is no person higher or lower in the society, or greater or less great in the society. There, everybody is looked upon by somebody else. So you have a moral duty by demonstrating a life to fall in line with the cosmic requirement, so that those who look upon to you to follow a life pattern will also learn how to follow that pattern. That their way, that by that action triggers that the whole life and the living beings are synchronizing with each other. And that synchronous living is the one which will be giving a peaceful society rather than a competitive society. Today it is a competitive society because the competition is seen as the ultimate in the society. Therefore, each one tried to compete with another. And that competition is destroying the cosmic order of equality and fraternity, etc. in this world. This is what the Bhagavad Gita is teaching us.
Yes, but then we are lost at words, because competition is not destructive. Even in the animal kingdom, in life itself, in growth of myceliums, competition does not mean, there is no collaboration. So we are at loss for words. So we cannot say it's just this or is that. And we cannot also say that we are looking up towards people and we want to have more of that. But there are also other aspects where there's massive levels of extraction, massive levels of corruption, massive levels of wrongdoings, of misguidance, of lies, and they create this architecture within which we are, breathing. So competition is not a problem. Competition can be extremely healthy. Yeah, and even
I think Rajinder, you are confusing between excellence and competition. Are you differentiate between the two?
Well, yeah,
I will call excellence is a good thing, whereas competition is to degrade somebody to become better than others, is what is called competition. Whereas excellence is you are doing something better than what you did yesterday. You are the yardstick all through. You don't refer to something else for competition.
Well, we could open up dictionaries and compare notes, on the definition of competition. I wouldn't. I don't want to do a dictionary conversation. But let's say to get back to this point, this space which has been following me for quite some time in many of your classes, which I appreciate very, very much, and thank you for that. It's this arrival of be it Advaita or even here in the Bhagavad Gita, there's the first level storyline, but yet, there's something in the after, which I feel people are hungry for, that, like in Advaita, it's like, okay, once you've known this, the non-duality, there are no more questions, This is, for me, a fundamental error, which is not pointing towards life, And same thing, like with the Bhagavad Gita, to say that, yes, he must just do his duty, what he's commanded to, or, there's something meta over that, is even, between doing, not doing, doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing. We can be doing the wrong thing, thinking it's the right thing, because of the nature of the illusion, the veil of not knowing, the veil of, corruption. And so, I guess I'm really, what I'm seeing is this pointing back to life. Because if we point back to life, then somehow we are kind of like obliged to navigate the material world. You're obliged to, dig the earth and plant a seed. Somehow you're obliged to. So this last space for me is, unclear. This pointing back, and I've been hungry for the words there, but I guess it's where the story ends. And where the story ends, there's, every ending would bring its new, and at that space I feel hungry, so it's just a thought. It was, just to put it out there, and yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Rajinder. I can understand from where your thoughts are coming up. It's mainly coming from the point of view of on the life seen from the issues of living, rather than looking at life as what is life as itself, and from a philosophical, metaphysical approach to a mundane day-to-day problem. These two are two different channels. The day-to-day channels has no solution ever, because it is in a vicious cycle where you do not know where or by which way you can get out of it. So the corruption or the good, bad, and all those things are permanent nature of that vicious cycle. The only way which we can get out of is to know, why am I getting into this cycle of, day-to-day mundane problems of good, bad, and ugly, and all those things? Is it necessary for me, or is there a way out for me?
No, Binduji, I was not just speaking at a personal level. We can also do a comparison, like what is it to live in Switzerland than in India? How is it to navigate? So there are structures and architectures. You can even call it structural violence. And so it's not the choice, unless you say, of course, I was reincarnated and I chose to be born as a, untouchable in the streets of Calcutta or something, What I'm trying to say is we can work towards building better. And does not mean that, it does not mean anything, but there is this positive momentum towards life. But it's not easy because each one can choose, like you say, the one who cooks for himself, makes for himself. At the end, even if you're like Gandhi and you walk around with your cotton cloth and your goat, you're still dependent on the goat. You're still dependent on the plant. Life is interdependent. One cannot.
Yes.
Yeah.
That exactly is what is the reason why this chapter is important. That interdependence should be understood by everyone. That is where the whole success lies.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Binduji and Prakashji, and Joy is here, so let us speak.
Thank you, Rajendra. Namaste, Joy.
Namaste ji. Detachment is what you mentioned, that Advaita is, the way for Advaita is detachment. A small question, is that the only way that it talks about?
I didn't get your question. Attachment?
Detachment.
What did you say? Detachment. Detachment. I didn't talk about detachment today.
Last conversation about, staying detached, sort of like you gave the example how when your wife and your daughter are fighting, you stay away. I mean, but that was I feel like a lighter example, but basically you were saying about detaching and just being with yourself and not getting involved in other things. You were quite categorically clear in the last conversation for that. So I'm saying, is that detachment the only way that Advaita talks about?
No, I didn't talk. That is not from Advaitic point of view. That is from the point of view in which how you can be reacting to situations whereby you are not getting into the reactory mode where you are drawn into a problem where you are not supposed to be interested to operate. Suppose if it is in the some people do that. Why do mob mentality come into the situation? If you may see somebody's two people are fighting, you will find other people are also joining and arguing and fighting.
Okay, I get that that was someone's different question, that know about getting involved unnecessarily. But my question is now, even if it उस वजह से आया है, so detachment ही एक तरीका है, क्योंकि कोई बोलेंगे about being detached with everything and some will say, I don't want to use the word love, but I need to have a better word right now because that word is used in many different ways. So instead of being detached from everything, then love everything equally kind of thing, which is pretty much the same way of, being, what do you want to call it, neutral in a way, but it still has a different way, Bindoji, where detachment sometimes becomes also... what
will it become? Detachment always protects you.
It may protect you, but you may feel like right now when you're saying that when there's money, because I only heard literally the end of that, so I don't want to comment on that. But if somebody has more money, then he can remain detached and think about whatever, not get involved. That could be, if that thing is fine to care about the well-being of others in the form of money, then it's also fine to care about the well-being of others in the form of direct care, love, affection, emotion, whatever is also part of the beauty of the whole thing, of the soul itself.
All those behavior will come when you have the otherness in your feeling. Otherness means I am there separate and there's others.
Otherness is already come in, no? When you're saying if somebody has money, they should give to others. There's already others.
No, I didn't say that. Somebody has money,
like
it doesn't mean that he is...
between money accumulating in one place versus something.
That the methodology in which that money... No, the methodology in which money is being accumulated by some is what I was talking about. I didn't say about the money being available to somebody or not available to somebody. If you not collecting it in the right way or as per the dharmic way, you are destroying the cycle of self-preservation in the society.
Yes, that is definitely a different thing. Doing the wrong
Yeah.
thing is totally out.
I told only from that point of view I am telling that.
But even if one is having it in a normal way, then also they could care about the well-being
Yeah,
generally of others.
they can. That is why philanthropy is also considered dharma. The dharma
Huh.
which we are talking about is from that point of view.
So
Dharma
money is
rakshati
also an
rakshita.
energy, Binduji. Money is also an energy, and love is also an energy.
Everything is an energy.
One
Everything
is
is an
more
energy.
acceptable. One is more acceptable than the other.
No, everything is equal. Whatever you can give, you should always give.
And that's not interference.
That is not interference. But don't give unasked. That is another problem.
But you say if somebody is crying and asking you for help
You
emotionally
should.
and to support them,
Yeah.
then that is getting engaged and involved.
You can be helping them, but don't go beyond a level where you get drawn into it. Then you becomes your problem, no?
तो दोनों में
Can go
involvement
only
तो
to
है ना
that
बिंदु जी.
you can go only to that extent where beyond which it is not becoming a help, it becomes involvement. I'm not talking helping and involvement are two different things. Helping is without involvement in mentally. You are helping as an outsider. But the moment you have an involvement, then that problem is shared with you.
No, you're right. And theoretically, 100% also. But in practical real life, it's a fine line. It would affect you, but if it is the right thing to do, you still do it. Even if it involves you or affects you, involve in the sense affects you, but you
If
would
it
do it
affects,
if it is the right thing to do.
If it affects you, I will not do it, because then I am taking things which are not supposed to be mine. That is how we create prarabdha, taking on others' problems.
But Binduji, even for healing, when we were studying healing, there are many healers who will say that even if they can do a healing, somebody needs it and they don't have money. So I don't know if there's a rule that at least take something kind of thing, don't do it for free. I don't know. I mean, if somebody can do it for, if they're charging a very large sum and they can give a lower sum and help, then they seem to be, I don't know. For me, that wasn't a big thing, but apparently it's like money is also an energy and you're taking on something. That was a new thing for me to hear, that even by doing help, even financially or even for the right thing. So that taking on thing, at least in relationships, that is very much in retrospect. So instantly the line can be very fine, right? Everything cannot be...
So, somehow I am not in favor of taking money for what you are gifting or what you are giving. But if it is a skill set which you have got, like a healing or anything, and you want to charge for because you want to live also, your livelihood is depending upon that, you can take money for it. And that you should do it knowing very well that look at the eligibility of the person to whom you are giving that help. Don't see today what happens today, everybody puts a price for it. But on the contrary, if it is left that it can be whatever is worth, your capability without expectation. So whatever comes, that is the yajnashishta. But not when you put a price for it. When you put a price for it, you are into commercial activity of selling knowledge or selling healing, all of those.
Yeah, I'm not in that line, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
the fine line between saying that don't enter it because you're going to be affected by it. It can be a fine line, and it can feel harsh to not do where you can do only because you will get affected by it. Because to some extent, you can get affected by things. But if it is the right thing to do somewhere, if some...
How do you decide which is right, which is wrong?
At the time, it felt right. Right? Now today, in retrospect, when we hear all this, it's different. No?
It's different. That's what I want to know. Because without knowledge to decide which is right, which is wrong, will be very difficult on our side.
Then nothing can be done, no? Because hindsight is 20/20.
You're not without any knowledge. You have got knowledge within that. You accumulate knowledge further, enhance your knowledge, and then get better and better. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Binduji. I mean, I'll just end it with this only, that if something is seeing, if with the knowledge wherever you're at, if it feels harsh to abandon someone that's asking for help, not that I'm anyone or anything to help anyone, like it's whatever is going to be done is going to be done by, whatever we want to call it. Yeah, but अगर आपके सामने कोई आ रहा है and somebody, like I said, in the house, in the family, spontaneously unfolding like that, you will help, even if it's somebody that is a worker. I know he needs help. Put him in the car and take him to the, you may say, by most people that is called, going over and beyond the call of duty. I mean, sometimes I'm not either talking about being a Mother Teresa or being a Hitler. This is not as clear. Things are not as black and white as that. But yes, some things do feel harsh to not have that, the natural frequency of the inner will guide you कि यहाँ पे, but later it can be called that wasn't totally detached because you got affected. You would get affected to some extent, right? So that thing
You cannot generalize. That's all I can say. Case to case, you have to handle it.
Case to case, you will handle it, but in some cases, it will still feel like let's say the behavior of someone. Even then, a certain level feels like it would be harsh to treat. Like say everybody's cut themselves off from a certain person because they're a certain way. Maybe I didn't feel like that needed so much extreme behavior towards someone. So now would that affect me? Yes, it would affect me definitely. So that line is, if my only parameter is don't do something if it affects you, then there are a billion things that affect you. So you have to only think about the self, myself as a person, as a human. Then it will be very difficult, Bindoji, without something. I'm not saying a moral sense of something outside of you, but there is some, I don't know what to call it. You can just call it a sense of well-being of not just yourself.
I really don't understand with any specific case in your mind you're talking about, or in a general state you're talking about.
I gave, 2 examples right now only, that if a person's behavior is, look, they have a lot of temper, they're temperamental, everybody has cut off from them and made it a very big thing and badmouthed them to the extent that the person is in a difficult condition and they're isolated. Now, should you go ahead and just be isolating them and cutting off from them in every way, emotionally, whatever? It might be easier for me to do that if I just think of me personally. But even as me personally, that didn't feel okay to do that. That is kind of very harsh treatment.
There is always something called introspection to be done by everyone.
Yeah. So a little more balance than if my only criteria is does it affect me, then it comes that plus something else comes along with it, right? So that's little plus that I'm talking about. That plus may not be as the criteria cannot be as unbiased that does it affect me. And if that is the only criteria that I have to look at, then that's a totally different ballgame.
I don't know what to say to you.
No, you just say that if that is the only criteria, that you look at only what affects you, then base your actions only and only on that with nothing else. Or there is some other aspect that comes into play. It's as simple as that.
But Joy, you have to understand one thing. What is the whole end aspect which you are aiming at? That should never be forgotten. The purpose of life for which we are living, these issues are what comes up in our process of living. And when that is being faced, we should have an anchor where we can hold firmly without getting affected. Because our goal should not be forgotten, our path should not be deviated. If you can do that with remaining with these two in firm, whether you want to give an empathy or help somebody or take somebody to the hospital or drop him somewhere, all those things are minor things. The major thing is the purpose of your life and what the path of your that purpose, for that purpose. Those are the most important things. Rest of the day-to-day life issues should not be a botheration from the point of view of this. So, keeping this in mind, that if you are able to manage your life, you are successful. If you are getting affected by, then you are forgetting your goal and your path. That's all I can say.
So, yes, Binduji, that definitely one can keep reminding and looking at that point. That is very right what you've said. And it's also in keeping with what you are in the higher purpose. When the higher purpose is to know what one truly is, and what one truly is it really that apart from everything else? That is what was coming into play for me. It doesn't feel like, okay, there is this little me and let everything else kind of go to hell. But yeah, I understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Yeah, VK. Namaste.
Namaste, Binduji.
Namaste.
I'm so fascinated by this discussion. I am a new entrant here. This is the first time.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question, Ji.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can because it's Advaita and the stuff like that. But my question, as Joy has put here, is about karma. Could I get an explanation? It is something I have in my mind for a long time. Is karma predetermined? Why I say or why I ask this question, because I have a small glimpse of Bhagavad Gita from different stages of my life, and I found one interesting thing there. At some point in the battleground where brothers are about to fight, Lord Krishna gives an advice to the confused Arjuna that everything is already set and it is just being played out. If that were the case, is karma, good or bad, also predetermined? Please.
Okay, VK. Karma should be understood from the point of view how it is functioning.
Okay. Go ahead.
Karma is basically any activity which we do for while we are thinking that we are a limited individual associated with our body, mind, intellect as we or the I.
Okay.
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 Now, that idea itself, that I am a individual with a human body, mind and intellect, and living by action, which is karma,
Yeah.
during my period, is that a predetermined one, or can I change it?
Okay.
Now, it is predetermined in the sense that what you think you can change is assumed that there are options at that moment, the three types: to do it, not to do it, or to do it some other means.
Okay.
In the three means which we have the option, we call it as option for action.
Oh.
But
All right. Yeah.
But even that options which we have got has limitations. What is available as space, time and causation cannot be changed by us.
Okay.
What can we change is only the methodology in which we are doing it. So we think that by changing the methodology, I am going to change the equation of time, space and causation. That will never happen. The time will go on its own way. The space or the causation, they are all predetermined. It is just like in a room, I can sit anywhere I want.
Okay.
But that is not a, what you call, change which we are looking at. We are looking at a change for our life itself. That cannot be changed, is what Krishna was telling to Arjuna.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But to take which arrow and to shoot whom at what time,
Yeah.
is not what he is talking about. He is talking about the fight will happen, and in the fight, the Arjuna side will win. The others will have to pay a price for their wrongdoings. These are all fixed by the actions which have taken place earlier itself.
Okay. Okay.
So that is why it is said that these are all, Krishna, when he said that it is all done earlier, you only be an instrument in the whole process.
Okay.
Same way in our actions also, we do not have the full picture.
Okay.
What we have is only a limited knowledge about the things which are in our control.
Okay.
Only that much we have the freedom. If you want a total freedom, then you have to move out of your limited feeling that you are the body, mind and intellect.
Oh.
Then you are in a league where you are one with the whole consciousness, awareness, which knows everything. Because everything is in awareness or consciousness. So, that is not the state which Arjuna is mentally prepared for.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
That is the reason why Arjuna is being told that it is all determined. You only be an instrument for executing that.
Yeah. This helps Binduji a lot. This helps. Could I add one more?
Yeah,
point,
please.
One more point here, Binduji.
Yes.
I have heard maybe from the same context of spiritual literature, a small story like this. When a banyan tree's seed falls on the earth and it starts to grow up, it can become a huge umbrella-like tree. But inside the seed, everything is pre-planned. Number of branches, number of leaves, and the wide area it can cover, and everything is pre-planned. And the number of birds that may sit on it, number of nests they may make in the future time, and also the people who travel beneath it, those who sit on it or around it, those who pass by, those who whatever they discuss, and what kind of life may take place around it. So when I heard this example for everything predetermined, it was quite fascinating and wonderful for me. So could you expand anything on it, if you can?
No, everything is like that, When you look at from that limited individual of the seed point of view,
Yeah.
it is all limited. But we are not a seed is what Bhagavad Gita is also teaching us.
Yeah.
So while we are living, operate like a seed, but that is only when you are identifying with your shape of the seed.
Yeah.
But if you are considering the life inside the seed, which can become a whole banyan tree,
Yeah.
it is like that. If we consider our true nature, that we are the subject, which is knowing all objects, including our body, mind, intellect as an object, then we are that life inside the seed, or we are that consciousness in which infinite is the possibilities.
Yeah. That helps, Binduji. Thanks for this explanation. It's beautiful.
Thank you, VK.
Yeah, thank you a lot.
Thank you. Namaste, Prakash. Can we close?
No, thank you. Thank you everyone for coming and asking very interesting questions. And since these questions are more not directly pertaining to the Gita, I would recommend that Sunday would have been a better place to go deeper. So VKG and others, Joyji, please come on Sunday, and Bindoji will have more time to go deeper into these kind of questions. But the ongoing sessions from Monday to Friday are on Bhagavad Gita. And so if we keep the discussion pertaining to the topic, I think the Sravana Manana, the ability to follow through, will be more useful. Anyway, that's just a suggestion. But the discussion was wonderful. Yes.
Prakashji, one second, please. Could I get some notification, like to join?
You have to become a member of the house.
Yes.
How to? I don't know.
Are you new to Clubhouse, VKG? Are you new to Clubhouse?
Yes, relatively new.
Okay, so if you look at the top panel, which says Advaita Vedanta Satsang, that's the house. So when you join the house, the red tag on your icon will disappear. And then you can go into the house and look at all the programs that are coming up. Yeah. And if you want, I can make a notification for myself to send you a link in your DM. Do you use your direct messaging in Clubhouse?
I don't. I have no idea. Here is a join, something join close to Satsang. Could I press it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can go to the house and check the upcoming rooms. You can check it in the morning.
Okay. I will do that.
If you're located in India, the time is 8:30 p.m. IST. So tomorrow we'll meet again at 8:30 p.m. IST, where Bindoji will continue with
So I pressed
room number 9.
I think I will get the notification later when the club starts, right?
Yes. Or if not, I'll send you a direct message.
Okay, thank you, Prakashji. Thank you a lot. I will be there.
Heartfelt thanks to Bindoji. I think we have gone over time. And I know Bindoji puts in a lot of effort in preparing for this. So let's honor the time and keep it at 10:30. So thank you very much, Bindoji. So we'll meet tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST.
Yeah. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, BK, Joy, and Rajendran. We'll meet tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita and Sunday for the question and answer session. Thank you. Hari Om. Good night.